Hi, this is Trent Anderson, CEO of the Bulls, talking with America's team, three-time champion. We're going to talk about some teams in the JIAFFI. Reece, let's go ahead and begin with the America's team.
Good history, very proud ownership. Struggled in the middle of his tenure within the league, but seems to have rebounded fairly well. Had a good season last year from a scoring standpoint. Be very interesting to see if he can repeat his team's scoring exploits. By far the smartest owner.
Jesus. All right, let's move on. We know the greatness of you. Let's go to DeVikas.
Wow.
We're going to go from the smartest to... Just kidding.
What can you say? Great guy.
Really? That's not what you said in the back?
Great guy. Maybe the Bill Bidwell of the JIFFL. In fact, you could probably consider his team the Cardinals. He spent some time in Arizona. And I think his exploits rubbed off on the Arizona Cardinals and vice versa. Never had a winning season.
But he does lay claim to the only team to not have a win in a season.
That too. He probably should cede ownership to somebody. He can act in an advisory capacity.
Well, how about he just he owns the team and brings in the draft specialists?
Well, correct.
Well, now he started off pretty darn well last year, though.
Yeah,
right?
but he crashed and burned. It's just like the Cardinals. Every year they have a lot of talent, supposedly.
Well, he's been in the league off and on for 17 seasons now, and he has never had a winning season. But yet he's made it to the playoffs once. But anyway.
Once or twice, it could be, bad luck. 17 years in a row, it's a trend.
All right. Well, what about the
shape up? Then again, him being in the league is very good for everybody who plays him. So.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Almost like having under par. So let's talk about under par.
Wow. What can be said? Ryan Lavidot. Very angry. Very angry to the point where he's very scary. Well, also participant in the biggest draft day incident at Chris Copeland's house when he almost choked the Beakers.
Well, he hit Beaker, slapped him in the back of the head after he received a warning from being drunk driving at halftime
with Jay Kurzweig. If memory serves me right, he had been off with Jay Kurzweig during the draft and came back and was very angry and almost killed poor Beaker.
So you're saying he's
now formerly Beaker, now
well, don't worry about Beaker because Beaker was probably numb and he couldn't feel it anyway.
Right. Now Kinnerfaction. So really his biggest claim to fame is that he was a participant in the first and only fight.
That's right.
Almost fist fight on draft day.
All right, well let's move on to the people against goodness and normalcy.
Only team to win a Super Bowl without trying, which I don't know whether that's good or bad. But it's scary, good. Didn't participate for half the season and won a Super Bowl. Competent, very competent.
Really?
He's one of the few people I shouldn't say few, but if you look, his career record is below 500.
Interesting. I would not have guessed that because he does come across fairly competent. Except, he's Jamie.
Except when you're talking to me in the back.
Right. Is also participant in another interesting JIAFFL historical incident when the first year we were in the draft, he and Gordon decided that they were going to swap, or was it Gordy stole Jamie's cheat note?
I was copying him and holding him off in the copy machine.
Well, little did Gordy know he was copying probably deficient cheat sheets.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because not only that year when Gordon stole the notes to make copies of it, earlier that week, Trent and I were listening to them talk. They were on the second floor. We were on the first floor listening by the stairs where they admitted that they've pumped up players by talking about their greatness and that they were manipulating the value of players so their players would drop in the draft.
I know some stuff. There's too.
Otherwise, J-Mo's a a fairly good team to have in your division. He's good for a win or two against him. Fair participant. Fair player.
Would you say that's your biggest rival, though, in the league?
Oh, without a doubt.
Right. You two have the most history.
Over the beer lovers.
Well,
the Cliff Barnes, J.R.
Well, we'll get to him in a little bit. We'll get to him.
Well, let's go ahead.
Well, let's go to, since we're on the topic of draft day incidents, let's talk about the Master when he threw up.
First, if Ryan, under par and Beaker was the only fight, we almost had the first fatality when Master Blaster went into a choking convulsion and managed to throw up something.
What was surprising about that is no one got up to help him in his own need.
I think everybody was in shock, waiting to see what would come out of him before they reacted. And luckily, he helped himself up to John's bathroom and.
They wanted to see it come out.
Right,
first.
managed to expel whatever was in him, and came back a little bit pale white, but managed to finish.
Paler.
But nonetheless, looking the same.
He was paler, right. He was white. He was KKK sheet white by that time. You know, people were wondering whether he was going to die. Watching him the rest of the draft too to make sure he didn't projectile vomit on them. You know,
That's right.
so. Master Blaster is also by far and away the king of creating strife within the league. You know.
Yes, I must agree.
Tank Jobs, the first participant to intentionally.
You made a comment back several years ago when we brought him back this last time. What a big mistake it was, and several, basically the Anderson brothers, told you need to be quiet, but you told the truth and foresaw the future, and so he has been banned from the league for life.
So
now.
He's the true emperor then.
No,
No.
Pat's an interesting guy. Interesting guy. Very angry, like under par, but in a much subtler way. As Ryan would punch you in the back of your head, you'd have to worry about Pat stabbing you in your sleep. Very scary individual. Very scary individual.
All right.